Good morning, everybody. A little breaking news show here. Sorry if took you by surprise, but the Cubs are apparently adding a veteran that has a ton of experience to the roster, and we're going to talk about that. Carlos Santana is being reported to have signed with the Cubs. That means they're going to have to do some things to the roster. What would he mean? Who is he? For some of you guys wondering, we're going to talk about all that right here. Don't forget, we're presented by AveD. That's Mick Nation. Hit that promo code right at the bottom, the QR. Go in there and play games, hang out. We're going to give away playoff tickets and much more through that. All right, let's get the show started. We're going to be on here for a quick minute, talk about Carlos Santana. Cubs looking for a sweep over Colorado. Is this the end of Justin Turner? Are they going to send Owen Casey down? I don't think they should. We'll get into that as well. As this point right now, we don't know what the roster move is. We just know that Carlos Santana is coming to join the Cubs. Veteran Carlos Santana, not the musician. I like both. What do you say, everybody? Mick Gillespie, Cubs Baseball Channel, and it is great to see you guys today. Let me throw this up on the screen, and let's get into this. Cubs are signing veteran first baseman Carlos Santana to a contract for the remainder of the season. Okay, you can't make any more trades and have those guys help you in the postseason. So when Carlos Santana was released, and I thought about talking about this topic on the show that we released this morning, and I didn't. And then I'm like, hey, when I saw that it was being reported that he was coming, I said, you know what? I got to get on here and cover this, right? So John Heyman, first guy from the MLB Network to report that the Cubs were signing Carlos Santana for the remainder of the season. He was released by the Cleveland Guardians earlier this week. His third stint with Cleveland, I think he'll be one day in the Cleveland Guardians / Indians / Spiders, whatever they want to be called. Hall of Fame. He's been one of the all-time great Indians and Guardians, right? He's been there for a long time. But he was released, and it actually worked out well for him because, you know, it was before August 31st, which means that he's eligible for the postseason. All right. Is he still able to contribute, right? Well, let me tell you what he brings to the table. First thing is that he's a veteran, right? You say, well, we already have a veteran in Justin Turner. This may replace Justin Turner. You know, we'll sit back and see when they announce how this turns out. I think that it will, because one of the problems that we had with Turner was that he couldn't play defense. He's been great in the clubhouse. I think he's going to be a coach one day if he wants to be. I love him. Like, no, this isn't a shot at him. He's just 40. And it's not like Santana's that much younger. He's 39. But Turner's defensive skills have deteriorated so much. You know that. So you put him in the field, he's a liability. Bat's still there. You know, look, he got some hits. I mean, he doesn't play a whole lot. You know, I was calling him a cheerleader, and then he hit a walk-off home run. It's like, hey, well, maybe the guy needs to play more. Or maybe they keep both, and with the September call-ups, maybe they just keep both guys. Maybe they don't release anybody. Just add him to the roster instead of a young player, right? I think the wrong move would be sending Owen Casey down. And I think a lot of you guys feel the same way. We're wondering, why is it so hard to incorporate young, talented players for the Cubs when you see other teams doing it and it works out well for them? Playing time's so hard, and then you look and some of these guys are in the midst of bad slumps, but that's a topic for another day. Let's talk about Santana. He's known for his defense, right? Gold Glove caliber defense. He could be a potential platoon guy for Michael Busch. And then, and then in the playoffs, you got somebody that comes in with some experience, right? So I like this. I like the fact that the Cubs are trying to do anything they can right now to get a little bit better. Santana slash line looks like this: 225 batting average, 316 on base percentage, 333. And then, he's kind of been one of those guys that you look at the the analytics. He's still hitting the ball hard. He's a switch hitter that can come off the bench. I think the Cubs like that as well. But the question is, who do they replace on the roster? If it's Owen Casey, I don't know if I'm going to be really enamored with this move, but we'll see. Could it be for a potential bench spot? Who knows? What about the 40-man roster? How's that going to work? And that's another question. And I don't know. I don't even want to speculate on the 40-man roster because I just don't know. I haven't looked at it deep enough. But anything, it could be open there. I mean, it just depends on, what the Cubs feel like. Okay, Brazier. Yes, Kevin says Brazier gone, right? Yeah, is that could be the move? I don't know. But Becky's like, and good to see you guys, by the way. Love you. Thank you for coming on and being part of our channel every day. And if this is the first time, make sure that you like, subscribe, thumbs up. I ask you guys that every day. But look, this I can't argue with this. I can't. Pretty funny though. But what happens sometimes though is that you get a guy like this, and he's kind of late in his career, and then you pump a little adrenaline in there. You're in the playoff mix, new place, new role, and then they help you win. They get some big hits in some key spots, and the Cubs can't go out there and add anybody. Especially a veteran that has the kind of experience that Carlos Santana has. So he's been in the big league 16 years, most of them with Cleveland, 2010, all the way to 2020. And then, kind of, traded and banged around. He was with Kansas City, Seattle, Pittsburgh. You guys remember him there. Milwaukee in 23, Minnesota last year, Cleveland this year. This year, I mentioned the stats. I didn't mention he hit 11 home runs and had 52 runs batted in. And in his career, the guy's got 335 home runs and over 1,100 RBIs. Even has some stolen bases this year, 7. So I look at him positioning wise, first base. It's been his spot, DH. You could put him there as well. And then, off the bench, this could be it for Carlos Santana. I mean, this could be his final spot. But one thing I will say that I got to appreciate the front office on this entire year is that it has felt like if they've seen an opportunity out there, they've gone for it, when it comes to these guys that have been released. And I know a lot of people were disappointed that they weren't more aggressive at the trade deadline. But yeah, he's the singer. Look, Carlos Santana, the singer, is great too. The funny thing is when you talk about Carlos Santana, the singer, a lot of the young people don't know who you're talking about. Like our generation's like, oh yeah, Carlos Santana, great singer. Kids are like, you mean the baseball player? So it just shows you where we are in our, where you might be at the age. But anyway, that's one. Now I talked about this too. Walker Buehler. Would the Cubs be willing to go get him? He was released by the Red Sox. I think that they probably should. This is another guy that you maybe, he's been a starter. Maybe you move him into the bullpen. The guy's got, he can be a fireballer if he wants to be. Maybe you unlock him. I don't know. But that's not the news right now. The news is that they are adding Carlos Santana. So watch for what they're going to do with the roster. They may wait until they get back from today's game against the Rockies. Now they have to have all this stuff buttoned up by today because this is the last day that he would be eligible for the postseason. And, we mentioned it every day. The Cubs are going to make the playoffs. So if you want to go hit that QR code right there, we're going to give some tickets away when that becomes official and we get a hold of them for you guys. And we're going to do it through our interactive games on our D community site, Avenue D, right? Mick Nation. Any questions that you guys have? I think throw them in the comment section right now and we'll get to them. But again, Cubs adding veteran first baseman Carlos Santana, contract for the rest of the season. First baseman, DH, switch hitter, ton of power. Somebody that is, from what I understand, a great clubhouse guy. So it's a move that you don't have to give up anything really to do. Santana can't catch. That's why I put the Adley Rushman story up there a couple days ago. If you didn't watch that video, I think that the Cubs ought to go all in on Richmond of the Orioles. They have two catchers, and you have the potential of putting an MVP candidate behind the plate. You know, Richmond's been banged up. He's going to be expensive. Baltimore might not want to pay for that. Whatever, you know, if you're the Cubs, this is the kind of guy that could help you out a whole lot for a long time if you make a deal there. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, thank you guys for being here. Yeah, solid move, could be rejuvenated down the stretch. That's what I'm kind of hoping for on this as well. Great comments as always, guys. And we'll be watching, man. Let's get the brooms out. Let's get this sweep, build some momentum. Atlanta coming up next at Wrigley. It'll be good to get back to our home. I'm still efforting to figure out when we're going to take the show to Wrigleyville. We talked to the gang at Murphy's, and they don't have the spot for us. So if you guys have any suggestions of places around Wrigley that you would love to come and hang out, we'll do the show and meet you guys. Let me know. I'm going to put that in the comment section. I got a spot that I'm thinking about right now too. You know, a place where maybe you have a shot and a beer when you introduce your manager. Anyway, like, subscribe, thumbs up. Thanks for being here. And we will talk to you guys again tomorrow.